Hello everyone, welcome to African Voice TV. Today we are bringing you one of the most iconic moments in the modern African history, a speech that echoed through the walls of the United Nations and into the hearts of the millions around the globe. We are talking about the golden stewed voice itself, His Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu, the Ashanti Kingdom of Ghana. This was no ordinary speech, it was bold, royal, deeply African. It left the world in a surprise. Okay guys, so before we dive into the main speech, kindly subscribe, like, comment and share the video and be part of African Voice family. We bring you the voice of powerful speech of African leaders. So thank you for watching African Voice TV.
Madam President of the General Assembly, Excellencies, it gives me great pleasure to address this General Assembly high-level forum on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the adoption of the Declaration and Program of Action on a Culture of Peace. I bring you warm greetings and felicitations from the President, Asante Man, the government and people of Ghana. At the outset, I would like to express my profound gratitude to you, Madam President, and through you to member states of this organization for the gracious invitation extended to me to deliver the keynote address on the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the Declaration and Program of Action on a Culture of Peace. It is a source of great joy to me personally that this 20th anniversary commemoration has happily coincided with the 20th anniversary celebration of my installment as the 16th occupant of the golden stool of the Ashanti Kingdom, established in the 17th century under Otumfuo King Osei Tutu I, my great-granduncle. It is not often that the voice of a traditional ruler from our part of the universe, the authentic voice of quintessential organic African institution, is heard in this hall, the world's most renowned debating and policy-making forum. I am therefore delighted by the noble gesture that has afforded me the unique opportunity today to mount this podium and share my thoughts with this august assembly on a culture of peace, mobilizing traditional leadership and communities for peace and security in my capacity as Asante Kingdom and also as a citizen of Ghana, a country which has consistently reaffirmed its support for the United Nations and its charter since joining the ranks of member states in 1957. I commend the President of the General Assembly for convening this commemorative event with a focus on rebuilding effective partnerships to better respond to emerging trends that impact on the realization of a culture of peace. I cannot emphasize enough the continuing relevance of the United Nations as the bastion of multilateralism in driving the agenda for peace, peaceful coexistence, and culture of nonviolence. I wish to express, in this regard, our appreciation to the Secretary General and his team for providing support for member states, civil society organizations, and all stakeholders in these efforts. The United Nations deserves our full support and commitment to enable it to tackle the pressing problems of today. It is only some 4 months since we had the honor of welcoming Madam President to our humble palace in Kumasi during her official visit to Ghana. The visit afforded her the opportunity to see something of the interplay of traditional and contemporary forces in the process of peace building in our country, and also afforded us the scope to share some thoughts on how the core mandate of the UN may be further advanced. We are deeply honored to have the opportunity to take Ghana's contribution to a new level by opening the door to a new conversation which hopefully could impact the UN in the ongoing struggle to preserve the peace and security of mankind. Madam President, I am sure that few will contest the fact that mankind is facing the greatest paradox in human history. On one hand, the benefits of nature's bounty have never been more abundant and more readily accessible. Science and technology have expanded the frontiers of human creativity to a point where we can observe what happens on the moon in real time. And a teenager with a little tablet can create a software in his bedroom which turns him into a millionaire overnight. The internet has turned on the light of knowledge beyond our wildest dreams. And yet, all that knowledge and wealth notwithstanding, we are faced with the stark reality that our world today is less safe, less secure, and less peaceful than it has ever been in history. Worse still, we have to contend with a real existential threat from a looming environmental catastrophe. However this paradox plays out, the United Nations will continue to be the only credible source from which the world may garner hope for survival. But it must also be obvious that in the grave new circumstances of today, a new construct is needed for which the UN's family must be prepared afresh. The global architecture created in San Francisco and Bretton Woods had real merits at the time, and truth be told, it has been decidedly successful in helping to keep mankind relatively at peace. It was right that the UN becomes a collegiate of sovereign governments, because it was only sovereign governments working together that could tackle the challenges of peace and security. The UN helped prevent the world from tipping over the precipice at the height of the Cold War. It saved us from the threat of nuclear Armageddon and helped bring a halt to a crippling arms race. All this was possible because all concerned knew who and what they were dealing with, the sovereign governments of states. For a start, the peace dividend which the world, particularly the developing world, expected from the end of the Cold War turned out to be the ultimate phantom dividend, a marriage that has left us in a state in which we appear to have leapt from the frying pan of state-to-state conflicts into the uncontrollable blaze of unidentifiable actors, making your seemingly innocent neighbor a potential weapon of mass destruction. Warfare is no longer the threat we face from states. It is now a danger we face on a daily basis from our citizens and from all quarters. This new threat comes on the heels of an unprecedented trust deficit in political leadership at the national level. The effect of this trust deficit is to erode the capacity of political leaders to rally their people to coalesce around national interests. The consequence for peace and security cannot be overstated.